Hello, I'm David Kain, president of Kain Automotive, and I'm sure excited for this interview today where I get to introduce you. And so many of you already know him anyway, but for those of you who are viewing today, this is Bob Lanham, and Bob is the head of automotive retail for Facebook. And Bob works out of the Motor City in Detroit, Michigan. And I would assume, Bob, that you're probably sheltered in place and working out of your office at home. And so we're hoping some kids come in or something happens in the background so we have some memorable moment. But thanks for joining me today, and I really am excited about what you're able to share with our viewing audience today.
Yeah, David, I greatly appreciate it. Really looking forward to our conversation. And, this conversation couldn't be any more timely with, the new contactless sale that is in place for many dealers and states, and digital retailing and the messaging that you provide to dealers. So I'm excited to talk to you and looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Bob, the interesting thing is, and I think it's important to kind of get some statistics in front of the viewers. If you could, you're really good at rattling off the world of Facebook. So let's talk about the platforms and kind of the scale of it, and then we'll get into some of the nitty gritty.
Sure. So I'll give you a global statistic first, and then I'll obviously focus on the U.S. as that's most relevant for the majority of the audience. But, Facebook recently had its earnings call where we announced that we reach over 3 billion people now across the globe, which was actually a growth from the previous quarter. And we actually also grew here in the U.S., and we now have 223 million adults 18 plus who are on our platform every month. But the statistic that I always love to give to the dealers is we have 171 million adults 18 plus that are on our platform every single day. And there's really two key statistics that I think we'll probably dig into here in a little bit, which is the growth of messaging. Messaging grew over 50% globally, and group calls through Messenger has grown over 70%. So while people have to stay home, people still want to stay connected. And these platforms that had already high usage and people were using them, they're doing it more, using it more, which all that does is it continues and builds a behavior. So it'll be interesting to see where Messenger goes here in the future.
Well, so, you're close to the overall philosophy of Facebook as a community and the other tangent tools such as, or I guess platforms such as Instagram. What's the overarching theory of Facebook? What do y'all want to be to the world?
Yeah, we just want to connect the world and connect it in a way that people can work together. They can help each other, to use our platform to truly make the world a closer organization for the sole purposes of making it a better place. As it relates to businesses, it follows the same strategy, which is we truly want to help businesses be closer to their community. And we have the opportunity to do that not only through their Facebook page or their Instagram handle, but they can also do that through advertising strategies, which have the ability to target as well. So at the end of the day, bringing the world closer together is what we're looking to do.
And it's not really just to fuel political arguments and stuff like that.
No, the people do that. That's not our mission at all.
I gotcha. It is a really great place to find memes, though.
There's no better place than memes, jokes, images, pictures. You can definitely, scroll through a lot of content on Facebook on what your friends, your family, and others that you follow are posting.
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned for businesses. So that's a side of Facebook that so many people aren't really aware of. And when we are in with our dealer clients, they're like, here's what we do. We'll post things on Facebook and then we'll boost the post. You organize the development of the Facebook guidebook. What are the drivers for businesses to market and advertise on Facebook? Why would we do that?
Sure. Well, I gave you the statistics earlier. 223 million monthly users, 171 million daily users. You know, when you break that down into individual marketplaces, whether that's a city, a DMA, or a zip code, we're going to have a lot of people in your area on our platform daily. So we are truly a great platform to not only get in front of people that are looking to possibly purchase your product or service, but your existing customers. And we have the ability to take dealerships' DMS or CRM data, load it into Facebook, do a match to a profile, and they have an audience that only they can target against. So the playbook was essentially designed and built to let dealers know that all of the strategies that they've been running for 10, 15, 20, 30 plus years are the same strategies that they can deploy on Facebook. They just didn't know that, from branding to their dealership, right? Which is extremely important today. And I love what you coined a couple of weeks ago, which is experience is the new brand. I mean, it doesn't get any more important today than the experience that someone is going to have purchasing an automobile. So we have a why buy here strategy for a dealership brand. We have a ready to buy strategy, which is that lower funnel driving traffic to VDPs. We let the machines do all the work. It's dynamic creative off of a VIN feed or your inventory. Customers for life is what I just mentioned, is being able to take CRM lists, load them into Facebook, and only target that audience you loaded in, from lease maturity lists, the sold not service lists, the lists, possibilities go on. And what a lot of people also don't realize is our platforms are used for events. Many people not only look to see what events are in their area by what is posted on Facebook, but they use our platform to post events. So that's our fourth strategy, which is make sure you not only post the events that you host at your store, but post the community events that you're sponsoring, whether it's the opening day or food truck Tuesday or so on and so forth, which I've actually seen a number of dealers do. So that's our playbook, and those are our four strategies.
And I guess I should put this little plug in. Our company has become a facilitator of those strategies and educated by Bob Lanham himself on how to do this. And what do you expect of companies like ours to provide to dealers who want to market on Facebook?
Yeah, listen, we approached you because you're one of the best in the business, right? You've been in the business a long time. You're a former dealer principal. You know the business better than anybody. What we need from partners in the market is understand the playbook, understand its purpose more importantly, right? What tends to happen is there are so many great companies, by the way, out there, but they solely focus on one thing. It could be lead generation. It could be, low cost per vehicle description pages. It could be branding. But the reality is they all work together. And you have to understand how all of these different strategies, or even just platforms, from Facebook driving search, right, to TV to driving search, to how lead generation is created. So, we look to partners like you who are in-store training the people who are ultimately closing the deal to understand how that deal got started, or at the very least, how you can prospect to start to create a deal, and how you can drive people down that purchase funnel from consideration all the way to purchase. So again, what we look for partners like you is to understand the landscape holistically, not just in a silo or singularly, because it's more complex than just one tactic over another.
No question. One thing that's cool, and a lot of people may not realize this, is early on you sold Toyotas in Sarasota, Florida, and rumor has it that you were probably the most prolific Toyota salesperson to come into the business and then get out too early in your career and go do something else. So why do you think that toe in the water orientation, that appreciation, has differentiated you and your philosophies in working with dealers?
First off, I absolutely loved my experience on the floor, and I had the ability to spend some time as an F&I manager. While limited, did get to learn that side of the business. I think people don't understand what it takes to sell a car, right? And more importantly, how to deal with people during the process, because that's mainly what you're doing is we're dealing with people, and people are already coming in on edge because of the perception of the process, right? The perception of the sale not being as maybe pleasant as it is to go buy a computer from Apple. And I want to use the term perception because it's not that way for every single dealership, right? There are a great number of dealerships who have just superior process and a superior experience. But what it taught me was the understanding of what it took to sell a car. It taught me the understanding of what people were thinking about when they were looking to purchase a car, how to talk to people to get a better understanding of why they really wanted to buy the car that they thought they wanted. And then frankly, just learn the business. I was close to the dealer principal at the time at Toyota Sarasota. So I got to go to a lot of the Southeast Toyota meetings, the Toyota dealer meetings. So I got to see the business from many different angles. So I hope it truly carries over into what we're trying to do at Facebook, because we truly do want to do what's right for the dealer, which is why we put the playbook together, because they are strategies that they already know. They're strategies that they already know how to run. They just didn't know they could do it on Facebook. And the guide is here to show you how to do it on Facebook.
You bet. So Facebook to me is like the essence of guerrilla marketing. I remember when I first started selling cars way back in 1982, our marketing was to sit in the car while the Metro Piston ad rep took our photo, and we would wave, and then the little byline, it would say, "Ask to see David when you come see this 1980 Chevrolet pickup truck." And that was how we got our name out. Now, if I'm a salesperson, I'm going to own Facebook. I'm going to be all over. I look at guys like Bob Butler at the Furman Automotive Group. He's all the time posting into Facebook. So Facebook has that maybe democratization. This, anybody can be involved in it. It's really, really well. Just touch on that for just a moment. Why wouldn't salespeople just organically be doing this? Because you and I have talked about there's so few guys actually doing that.
Yeah, I don't know why they wouldn't want to use a platform like ours to help them facilitate sales and prospects, and more importantly, just use it to show the type of person you are as a salesperson, right? Yes. I love delivery photos. It's as old school as it gets, right? Like, let's put the people in front of the car. Let's put our arm around them. Let's take a picture. Or at the very least, let's have our clients in front of the brand new car. But it's still so, strategic and important, because it shows that A, you can sell a car. Obviously, you have the ability to do that. B, people are willing to buy from you, right? And C, that if they're willing to buy from you, you obviously have earned their trust, right? You had an experience and a process that they wanted to finish the sale with you. So, I know a lot of stores who have maybe multiple stores do have policies in place. They want to, make sure everything does go through the business, and that's very understandable. But even if you up level it to the business, the business should just as much be doing what the salesperson would be doing in terms of, letting the community know the type of dealership that they are. We have a number of statistics that you've heard us present a number of times, which is, 2 out of 3 people who will enter into a physical local business, and this is not automotive specific, we'll go to that business's Facebook page prior to arrival. And I always ask the dealers, does anybody want to guess why that is? Right? And some will say hours in operations, and sure. And reviews, absolutely reviews, because that's what we want to look at. But more importantly, they want to see who they're about to do business with.
Yeah.
Right? Who they're about to spend 2, 3, however many hours it is at their store. They want to see what role you play in the community. right? Like we've got an entire generation that will only do business with businesses that they believe in, right? That they feel gives back, whether it's to the community, to the earth, to the globe, to whatever that is. So we're a great platform to be able to get really any type of messaging that you want to get out there, and that experience message is so important.
No question. And Brad Butler just does a really, really good job of showing who he is. He draws people in. You've got case study after case study of dealers who have done a remarkable job in that respect. But let's talk about Facebook as an advertising platform, because dealers are spending money all over the world, but all over the marketing world. But Facebook has become really remarkable, particularly during this COVID-19 crisis that we're going through. And if you look at the stars alignment, not that this is a good time for anybody, it's horrible for everybody, but the fact is Facebook is providing a really good marketing platform. So let's get into a little bit of the phonics of the marketing platform. Where do you find it? Because everybody's used to Facebook, Instagram, and the normal routine, but how do you access this advertising?
Yeah, so we have a dealer playbook, in terms of accessing, and then I'll kind of go through a little bit in detail of each strategy. But we have a dealer playbook, so if you want to just search Facebook's dealer playbook, we have a hub, it'll show up. But a document that I do want to touch on that we just launched a couple of weeks ago is we created a 4-page document that outlined 4 free tools that come with your Facebook page and your Instagram handle. And the first tool, as remedial or as simplistic as it might sound, is we just simply remind dealerships or businesses as a whole, hey, make sure you pin a post. What is pinning a post? So you make a post on your page, and in the top right-hand corner, you can click a little ribbon, and that post will stay at the top of the page. So anytime somebody comes to the page, that's the first post they see. And why is that important? Well, first and foremost, in today's world, are you open? If you're open, but we're not allowed to come to you, how do we get in touch with you? What are your new cleaning process, or whatever the information is that you need to give out to the community, you want that front and center. So pinning and post is the first one. Messenger, and I know we'll get into this a little bit more detail, but it's free. It's tied to your dealership's business page. Instagram has direct messaging. Like, use it. People are already using it. The numbers have grown 50%. It is. We call it the new normal, the new lead, the new conversation. The third one is what we call Facebook Live, which is any dealership through their phone can go live. So what we have as a best practice for dealers to go live, do a walk around of the new vehicle that arrived, do a walk around and meet the staff, do a walk around of your showroom, and things that I was actually taught on the floor, which is when you're prospecting with a client, make sure when you're coming in to sit at the desk, walk through the service bay, introduce them to the service manager, introduce them to the parts manager, introduce them to make them feel comfortable and let them know. So Facebook Live is a great free platform. And then finally, stories. So stories is for those of you that aren't aware, is when you're at the top of your feed, you see all these, we call them stories, all these links that you can click on, and then you just scroll through people's stories. And sometimes they'll post 1 story, 2 story. Many are thinking that because stories have grown so much, that stories might actually overtake the feed. You may not, and someday you may not scroll. You actually might just be looking at stories. So those are the 4 free tools right now that we wanted to make sure everyone in the market knew we had, that they were already tied to your pages. And then we can get into the playbook. Do you have any specific questions on the playbook before I just keep on rambling?
No, but there's a big free one called Marketplace that
Marketplace, yeah,
a lot of people are using. To me, Marketplace is the old replacement for Craigslist, where you take a photo and put it up there. It's really grown dramatically.
Yeah, and marketplace is in our playbook and not in the free tools. Although you just gave me an idea, we probably should have put it into the free tools. So marketplace is ultimately free. There is no cost to list your inventory on the platform. Now, for a dealer, you do have to go through a listing partner today to get your inventory, and that's simply because we need a certain way to be able to display your inventory. But here's what's interesting about marketplace that a number of folks, including yourself, have talked about, which is why does marketplace work? Now, I don't know if you've ever sold anything outside of a car on marketplace, but we'll put on a piece of furniture or whatever, some kids' clothes that we're getting, and within minutes, you've got 5 or 6 messages on, hey, is it still available? I would love it. It is almost overwhelming. That's how quick people are on the what you don't want anymore, they need or they do want. But there are 2 primary forms of communications on marketplace, with one being the primary. Do you want to guess what they are?
I'm guessing Messenger.
And Messenger is the #1 primary form of communication on marketplace, followed by click to call or call a phone number. Yes, the web address is there, but it's by design that Messenger is front and center, so that that's the behavior people want. That's the experience people want to have, right? If they wanted to call you, they'd look it up. They'd look up your phone number and they'd instantly call you. You've got a generation that have only grown up using this and have learned to really converse only through this. So you now have to adopt to this generation, which, by the way, has the largest purchasing power in our country. So Messenger was done that by design. And I'll tell you this, we have a number of our clients and dealers who are driving their advertising to their marketplace listing for the sole purpose to get that user into the messaging conversation or possibly a click to call versus the form lead process. And what they're telling us, because I learned from you all and dealers all the time, is when they engage with a potential customer through Messenger, they're seeing their close rates can be considerably higher than when it's a traditional form lead and it's going through email or whatever the process is. And when you dig into it, it makes sense. And I said this last week or earlier this week. It's simply the new up, right? It's just in physical. The person isn't physically there, but a human being is on the other side wanting to potentially work with you and has interest in that particular vehicle. You just, instead of talking to them face to face in person, you're talking to a human being on your phone. And when done correctly, dealers are seeing high success with Messenger.
Yeah, and so let's explore that just a little bit, because in our earlier conversation this week, we were strategizing. Luckily, I have the advantage to be able to call you every once in a while and just pick your brain. And you've got such a great aptitude for the realities of what's going on the dealership's environment. The truth is, and I think you and I have talked about this, Messenger, live chat, whatever platform the dealers are using on their website or in Facebook is the new point. You remember when you were a salesperson there in Sarasota, the guy says, "Hey, listen, Lanham, you're on point today," or "Lanham, you're on point this morning," and you knew what that was. I've got to go sit there and watch for customers. In my world, Messenger is the new point. And to a large degree, what's so crazy about it is dealers are saying to us, what we'd like to use is some sort of an AI, and then we'll get a form fill, and then we'll turn into a lead, and then we'll call the customer. And I'm like, dude, why in the heck would you take a customer and it's like, okay, hey, thanks for coming into the dealership. I'm going to walk in, have you fill out a form, and then when you're ready in about 10 minutes, come over and get me, and then we'll talk about a vehicle. And it's like, boom. It's crazy.
This is, and listen, we've moved fast, right? The technology has moved fast. The digital retailing is moving fast, right? And there's definitely different definitions of digital retailing. But I think if anything that we've learned in the past month or so is that you can sell a car online, whether it's through your desktop or your mobile device. And, I've heard a number of dealers even say, because it's had to be this way, 100% of my sales this past month were done online. So it can be done. So as it relates to Messenger, you just summed it up. And there are people or technology that will use technology like a bot to start a conversation, but then quickly try to turn it into a form lead. And I'm always like, well, it's counterintuitive. I guess I don't understand what you're trying to accomplish, because you're talking to a human being, like on the other side of the screen. It's, again, no different than someone physically being in the store. So why wouldn't you want to engage with them and work with them, there? Now, there are some products and features that I fully admit our team needs to build to make it better for those dealers to have multiple stores and a BDC, et cetera, and know that we're looking in to do that. But at the end of the day, a messenger conversation is no different than someone driving up, pulling into a parking spot, walking out, walking into your showroom with interest to buy.
Yeah, and speaking of, so Messenger gives ultimate flexibility. So I'm in a position to where I'm messaging with you, and then all of a sudden I can transfer that over to my phone and then walk out to the lot, do a video introduction of the vehicle, have this kind of conversation. And you're all the time busting my chops about, hey man, you can do these, you don't need Zoom, you can do this on Facebook. And it's like you say, it's moving at a pretty rapid clip. So a lot of people aren't necessarily familiar with that kind of stuff, but I think it just goes to show the speed of innovation to a large degree causes some dealers to recoil and say, time out, I'm just going to go back to the old way of doing this. How do you counsel dealers who do want to just retrench and say, dude, it's happening too fast. Here's what I know.
Yeah, I mean, we hear that a lot. And I'll be really anxious to see what happens as business starts to increase and stores open and states, states themselves open. Will we fall back to our habits where we're not gonna work with you on the phone or online, and we're gonna just make you come in and then we'll talk with you? I hope it doesn't, go back. I'm sure it will for some that, maybe that's their comfort zone. But, I'll tell you this, for every dealer that falls back or doesn't adopt, there's 4 that are adopting. And some of them are in their area. So they're either going to be forced to adopt or, they're just going to, they're going to lose business, because as we've learned, there's research that shows experience has now surpassed price as to why people choose a dealership. And, I was actually talking with a dealer that we mutually know last night, and she was telling me, but price does still play an important role. And it does, it 100% does. And the two combined play the biggest role, and you can't do one or the other, which is why we never suggest ever to do one strategy or the other. You need to do the full funnel from brand experience all the way down to driving the sales. So, to answer your question, all we can do is show them what exists, how it's used, the numbers, the case studies, and it really becomes up to them if they want to adapt it or not. And that's all, that's all I can do.
Absolutely. Well, and it's got to be invigorating to see people who are inventive. You and I are friends with Tim Cox at Cornell, and he is so excited about the fact that Bob Lanham, he took this idea and he loves where we're going with this AI and some of the communications tools and fixed operations and stuff. Let's talk about the organics of how you all involve partners in some of your product development, and why dealers listening to this should probably feel as though, hey, man, I can have a future in helping create something that's really interesting and valuable.
Is this the paid sponsorship part on Paid by Tim Cox and Carnell? Because he wants me to tell the story on how he and I connected at your event in Lexington. But it's a true story. It truly is. We left your event we both presented on the same day, and we headed to the Lexington airport, and our gates were literally right next to each other. And if you've been at Lexington, they're literally right next to each other. And we just, hey, how are you? I mean, we see each other on the road all the time. We just started chatting. And, kudos to him. I mean, he just started asking me a bunch of questions. And I said, with digital retailing growing and experience being super important, I said, I just don't understand why no partner has built a scheduling platform that is tied to the dealership's scheduling platform, right? It sounds so simple, but it just was never done. And I said, what I think would be a great first step would be, we can target CRM audiences from a dealer, right? Whether it comes out of their DMS or CRM, we can target specific audiences that they would want to target. Why wouldn't we want to deliver everyone that purchased a car last month, say, thank you for your recent purchase. It's time for your first oil change, which, as we all know, service is still the number one loyalty strategy for the dealership, or at least top one or two. And I said, so, knowing that the dealership wants to win that business, why would we not want to just make it easy for them to click and schedule? Amazon makes it easy for us to spend thousands of dollars in one click. Why can't we make one click scheduling? And kudos to him and his team. A month later, they built a product called Schedule Now for Facebook. And what it allows a dealership to do is target a CRM audience, click book now or contact us, or message us, and then the messenger window appears, and then artificial intelligence or a bot takes over. The person schedules the appointment with the bot, and then the appointment automatically goes into the scheduling platform.
It's a really, really cool tool. He's done a really great job. So enough of that. I think we've given him his 60 seconds of notoriety there. So we'll move on. So Bob, there are pure advertising plays in the Facebook, Instagram world. So let's talk about these carousel ads, these in-stream ads, and things of that nature. I see that. And I know all I have to do as a advertiser is click and go through there. It's pretty well spelled out. You can help us with the audience. You've mentioned CRM being able to upload audiences. What are some success stories? Do you have anything off the top of your head that you can call on? Do we need to have movement? Does video work better than still pictures? What's the story there?
Yeah, I get this question a lot, which is, okay, if I was going to run one ad unit, what ad unit would that be? And unfortunately, that isn't the strategy that we would suggest. We would always say you'd want to run multiple types of ad units, right? You'd want to run video. You'd want to run your static ads, your carousel ads, your click to messenger ads. You want to run the variety of ads because people engage with ads for different reasons, right? And you want to make sure that message is spelled out, and if the price is important, make sure that's the first thing that is shown, which is the price. If inventory, use the carousel to scroll their inventory. And video is getting definitely a lot of play right now, and you have to do video. Video is something that has to be done. But video, in my opinion, is a creative execution. It isn't a strategy, right? The strategy is the media plan, the targeting of the audience with the messaging. The video, or at least the carousel, is simply the creative execution. So the long-winded answer simply is you want to run a variety of ads because people tend to engage with the variety, not just one single ad. So you got to have video, you got to have your static ads, you got to have your carousel ads, you got to have your overlays and your creative. Like you want to have it as best you can. And by the way, there are a lot of free apps that exist that help you put overlays on ads, that help you put text over ads. Like, you do not need a full-on production studio to be able to do this. You truly can do a lot of this yourselves.
Well, and it's interesting because, you get so much bang for your buck when it comes to Facebook. And a lot of people, part of the reason why they don't work through a marketing company and they like to do it on their own is because the platform is very forgiving. You can do a lot of different things with it. And if you spend too much time on production and too much money on production, you actually spend the same money that you would have spent just to promote your ad. So what's the right ratio? I mean, do you typically see a dealer spend 20% of their ad budget for production, or what's
It's
the
a good question, and I have to be brutally honest with you. I don't know. I actually don't know what dealers are spending on their ad. But at the tier 3 level or the retail level, or at the dealer level, you want it to be genuine, right? You want it to come from you, right? Facebook's a community-based platform, and you're a community-based business. Dealerships are. So, you can create video on your phone,
yeah.
right? You can take pictures using your phone, right? You can use the free apps, or you can just use the picture. Just what we highly suggest to dealers is, when it comes to creative, make it genuine to your business.
Yeah.
Because people can see through, the super high production, which is needed for many cases and other platforms and whatnot. But at the tier 3 level, you can do a lot just on your phone.
You bet. And also selecting audiences. Y'all have got a rich audience selection opportunity. You can do the lookalike through your CRM, people who bought vehicles. You can help them find others. But if I'm just going in there, I actually can look at different demographics without getting into privacy risk or any of those issues. What's a logical thing? I'm just kind of give us a high level overview. I'm trying to move sport utility vehicles that will pull trailers or boats. Does it help me target specific audiences?
We have a lot of targeting. I mean, I can tell you that we have the ability to, or the dealer has the ability to also use third-party data to enhance the targeting. But I'll outline it like this, and you can go a number of different ways. So the why buy here strategy, we always suggest it to be broad, right? It could be your dealership 15-mile radius or 20, whatever you feel comfortable with. But keep that broad. Make that emulate your radio buy or your TV buy, right? You want to get your message out there with a controlled frequency. And we always suggest, for those of you that are familiar with our platform, use the reach objective. So make the why buy here more broad-based targeting. Our ready to buy strategy uses our machines, Facebook machines, to review a lot of data, to find the right person to deliver the right vehicle at the right time on the right platform, whether that's Instagram or Facebook. But what's so great about the ready to buy strategies, then you can also add a lot of that interest-based targeting that we have already in the system, whether it's third-party targeting from IHS, or Polk is IHS, but Experian and Epsilon, et cetera. Because we have the ability for the dealer to load data, you can use third-party data. But then that customers for life strategy is your CRM. And what's great about CRM, you brought up lookalike audiences. If you want to target, in my old world, Toyota Camry buyers, right? You would export a list of Camry buyers, you'd put them in our system, and then you'd create a lookalike audience against those Camry buyers. And why do we suggest that? Because Camry buyers, people with similar commonalities or traits tend to buy similar products. And that's the sole purpose of lookalikes, which is to take an audience and then find people that look like this audience. So I hope that helps summarize this sort of the ease of it, because you could get lost in our systems because there's a lot out there. But brand, make it broad. Ready to buy, use our machines. Customer for life, use your own data.
Amen. From the mind of Bob Lanham. Boy, this has sure been helpful, Bob, and I appreciate it, because I wanted to talk to you about the philosophy, the theories behind Facebook marketing, but I also wanted to give the audience some takeaways that they could actually do. So, the dealer playbook, obviously downloadable, something that we'll make available as a link with this broadcast. But So generous with your knowledge and your experience. I, for one, am really proud to know you, and sure enjoy getting to talk to you about this kind of stuff, because I think it makes the whole dealer body better. And certainly that's one of the things that I think is true and genuine about you. So thanks very much for your time today, Bob.
Yeah, no, man, no worries. And listen, as corny as this sounds, I miss traveling with you. But know that not only myself, but my team, who you know a lot of, not only appreciate you, but appreciate your team, and then appreciates what you're doing for the industry. So thanks for having me anytime.
You're sure welcome. Bye bye now.
Thanks, buddy.